Have you ever wondered why the goddess of wisdom could be so mercilessly cruel? Tonight, we descend into the shadows of Mount Olympus, where jealousy wore a crown and forgiveness was a word that never crossed divine lips. This is the story of Athena's wrath and the women she condemned to fates worse than death itself. But here's what they don't tell you in the myths. What if her cruelty wasn't divine justice at all? What if it was something far more human and far more terrifying? If you dare walk deeper into the forbidden chambers of Olympus, subscribe now, because some stories were buried for a reason. This is not a sanitized tale they teach in schools. This is the myth they tried to erase, written in spider silk and serpent scales, whispered only in the darkest corners of ancient libraries. Tonight, we uncover the truth about the goddess who claimed to embody wisdom, yet whose jealousy burned brighter than Histia's sacred flame. But the high priest was not the only one who knew this secret. Picture ancient Athens, marble temples gleaming under a blood-red moon, sacred looms humming in the night, and the scent of divine rage heavy in the air. In these hallowed halls, mortals dared to challenge the gods themselves, and in the shadows, Athena watched and seethed. The question that haunts scholars to this day: was her temple truly a place of worship or a trap for those who dared to be too gifted? She was Athena Parphenos, virgin goddess of wisdom, warfare, and crafts. They carved her likeness in gold and ivory, standing 40 feet tall in the Parthenon. But behind those marble eyes burned something ancient and unforgiving. They say her jealousy could turn blessed hands into cursed ones with a single glance. And that's where our first story gets dangerous. Her name was Arachne, a weaver whose fingers moved like music, whose tapestries could make grown men weep. But she made one fatal mistake. She believed her skill was her own. In the marketplace of Lydia, she boasted before crowds, "Even Athena herself could not match my artistry." When Athena heard those words, her rage shook the foundations of Olympus. Disguised as an old woman, she descended to earth, her gray eyes burning with divine fury. "Challenge accepted," she whispered, and the very air grew thick with dread. They faced each other at dawn, goddess against mortal, divinity against human ambition. But what Arachne wove that day would seal her fate forever. Arachne's final masterpiece depicted the gods' greatest shames, Zeus's countless betrayals, Poseidon's brutal assaults, Athena's own petty jealousies. Every thread told a truth the gods wanted buried. When Athena saw her work, something inside her snapped. She destroyed the tapestry with her bare hands, but the damage was done. The truth had been woven, and truth, once spoken, can never be unspoken. "You want to weave forever," Athena hissed, her voice like winter wind through dead leaves. "Then weave you shall.
With 3 drops of bitter poison, she transformed Arachne into something that still haunts our nightmares. The first spider, condemned to weave until the end of time. But that's not where this story ends. There was another woman, another betrayal, another curse that echoes through eternity.
In Athena's sacred temple stood Medusa, a priestess of breathtaking beauty, devoted to the goddess she served. Golden hair like spun sunlight, eyes like the Aegean Sea, and a heart pure enough to serve in the holiest of sanctuaries. But Poseidon, god of the seas, looked upon her with lust that would not be denied. One night, as Medusa prayed before Athena's altar, Poseidon struck. The Earthshaker himself defiled the sacred space, violating both the priestess and the sanctuary in one brutal act. When dawn broke, Medusa lay broken on the marble floor, and Athena's rage shook the pillars of heaven. But her anger wasn't directed where you'd expect. Instead of destroying Poseidon, her uncle, her equal among the gods, Athena turned her wrath upon the victim. "You have defiled my temple," she declared, her voice like grinding stone, and with words that still echo in the depths of Tartarus, she cursed Medusa beyond redemption. Was this justice, or the jealousy of a goddess who could not bear to see beauty she herself would never possess? Athena's curse was as creative as it was cruel. Medusa's golden hair became writhing serpents. Her beautiful eyes turned to instruments of death. Her lovely face became so hideous that one glance would turn any living being to stone. She became the very monster that would haunt humanity's darkest dreams. And that's when something even darker happened. Athena smiled. "If you're still here, you walk among the few who dare to question the gods themselves. Subscribe before they notice we're telling their secrets." Banished to the edge of the world, Medusa wandered the wasteland alone. Every reflection showed her the monster she'd become. Every breath reminded her of the beauty she'd lost. They say her tears turned to acid, carving channels in the stone beneath her feet. But the cruelest part, she still remembered what it felt like to be human. Here lies the heart of our mystery. Was Athena truly the goddess of justice, or was she the embodiment of divine jealousy itself? Did she punish Arachne for hubris, or for possessing a gift that rivaled her own? Did she curse Medusa for defilement, or for being beautiful enough to attract a god's desire? The answer lies buried beneath centuries of carefully crafted myth. I screamed for justice, but only the shadows listened. I wove truth into beauty, and she made me hideous for it. I am not dead. I am not gone. I am every spider that spins in the corner of your vision, every web that catches the morning light. She thought she silenced me, but my story lives in every thread. The voice of Arachne still whispers through the webs that glisten with dew and dawn. She called it justice. I called it jealousy. I was pure when she made me monstrous, innocent when she painted me as evil. My curse was not punishment, it was elimination. She could not bear that mortals might love what she could never become: beautiful, desirable, human. Today, Athena's victims live on as symbols that transcend their origins. Every spider reminds us the truth-telling can be a death sentence. Every snake whispers of beauty transformed into terror by jealous hands. They are not monsters. They are monuments to divine injustice. And perhaps they are warnings of what happens when gods feel too human.
You can rewrite the myths, carve new statues, build temples to sanitized versions of the gods, but you cannot erase a shadow. Athena's jealousy lives on in every act of petty cruelty, every punishment that exceeds the crime, every moment when justice becomes personal vengeance. The spider still weaves, the gorgon still wanders, and somewhere in the marble holes of eternity, Athena still seethes with a jealousy she could never overcome. Next time, we enter the realm of the god who devours his own children. Some hungers are never satisfied. If you feel the weight of these ancient curses even now, if you question whether the gods were truly just, subscribe, because the stories they tried to bury will rise again. And next time, we dive even deeper into the shadows where truth lives. The spider remembers, the gorgon watches, and their stories are far from over.